Bueno, aquí Ulises Lavaroni para Cyclical Dreams. Esta vez estamos con el gran agrado de tenerlo a Massimiliano Cerioni entre nosotros, participando en el sello con su arte, con sus trabajos, y vamos a hacerle una breve entrevista para conocer su forma de trabajo, sus orígenes y su forma de pensar un poco. Have a great day, Massimiliano. How are you doing?
Hello, Ulises. I'm good. Thanks for this opportunity. I'm here to have a nice talk with you about music directly from Rome, from the heat of Rome, actually, because it's very warm.
Great. Well, we are having a nice warm winter at that moment in Buenos Aires, so it's a great time. Well, we are going to start with the interview. The first question we want to ask you is about your beginnings. It's about how you reach electronic music and how you reach to synthesizers and electronics devices. How it was.
Okay. Well, actually, as many other musicians, I've started practicing music through traditional and acoustic instruments such as piano, keyboards as well. I'm not strictly a pianist, but my first encounter with music has been through keyboards and piano. And afterwards, I realized I was more curious about the opportunity to make new sounds and in general to condition the sound rather than practicing in order to become a good player, let's say. I was not so orthodox as a player, and then I discovered I enjoyed much more to mess with sounds even. So I started with first musical software I could reach out with my facilities when I was a young kid, and afterwards I entered into a proper electronic music course at the Conservatory of L'Aquila, which is a city in the center of Italy, where I actually discovered the history, the techniques, and all the powerful and important background culture that electronic and electroacoustic music has, especially for the, let's say, for the avant-garde composition practice. So once there,
you have a great story in Italy as well about that.
We do, and the funny thing is that I wasn't aware at all about this. I discovered electronic music through the more mainstream electronic music, to the pop electronic music influences and so on. So it was a very big surprise when I could acknowledge that in Italy we had very important composers and also inventors. So once there, my mind opened up all of a sudden, and my perspective changed because I also realized that I could make music and create the sound literally from the tiniest part of it in order to build up a great and complex composition, which could not even belong to a genre, but could be a totally personal aesthetics. That's what I like more than everything else, and that put me in this path.
Well, it was a very curious way, a very the way to go to found your own sound and your own way to do the things. That's great. Well, and then I can imagine that you have a lot of or perhaps many, but influences, and which artists were your influences and your inspiration in specifically electronic music? What happened about that?
Okay, yeah, of course. As I was saying before, I've been conditioned from the idea that I can build up a sound and design every tiny element of it, every inner element of that sound in a very powerful way. So what I what I find as a great influence in terms of other composers' work is the the music of Giacinto Scelsi at first and Gerard Griset, because when I could listen to their music, I suddenly realized that they were asking me for taking my time in order to develop a higher listening approach with more patience, more attention to tiny details, and more consciousness. So that was an actual active listening, which I didn't experience before that time, before the first encounter with this music. And the same has been for the music of Yanis Xenakis, uh, for other reasons, because the music of Chelsea and the music of the spectral composers as well is something that stretches sound into the time and makes the inner qualities of the sound visible, while Xenakis is fascinating according to me because he can like build up structures with sound until a very complex listening experience come out. So it's about masses, it's about complexity. That's what I like about him, especially. And yeah, of course, at a certain point, I also felt the influence of the Italian composers as well, not only Chelsea, but also uh, Luigi Nono for the live electronics approach, because I found he had a proper, very smart approach to the integration of the instruments into the live electronics idea. Uh, like put both elements, the live electronics, uh, the sound processing and the sound performing, the instrument performing as well, together into an organic thing and totally live, not something made for an acousmatic listening, but prepared and conceived for the live audience. So yeah, I think all the composers that could put up these elements, such as complexity, inner qualities of sounds, and the time, the conditioning of time into the listening aspect, uh, have been important for me, in a sense.
Amazing, amazing influences as well. You mentioned all great titans of music.
Yeah,
They
yeah,
work. They work is it's awesome. It's great. It's fantastic. Very very complex and very inspiring as well. Well, excellent.
totally. I would also say that some theories behind the avant-garde and contemporary music have been fascinating for me, especially the writings of Michel Chion about the combination of visuals and music. So the concept of syncresis, which means a third level of communication, almost a third language that come out when you can put up the combination of a sound and of an image together. And that's why I feel like I'm fascinated about music that can be considered as cinematic.
Great. Well, and how you do it, how you work in the studio, which instrument you use, and which method, which way of work you choose to make your own art.
Well, for the majority of my work, I mix up two different approaches, such as the concrete music approach, so using real life sounds and noises and ambient soundscapes and so on, with sound synthesis mostly made with softwares, especially Max MSP, Max 8 nowadays, because it's been the first programming environment I encountered, and which made me feel like I could design everything in order to make new sounds with just the programming, the coding approach. So I felt so confident from the very first time that still nowadays I create my patches in order to process or even create my sounds from scratch and then build up my composition. Even though I also used some analog synths, but not very often actually. I also use virtual analog synths in some cases when I have a precise idea and I want to make it in a very smart way. And besides this, I got back into a sort of performing practice with the didgeridoo. So I play also some didgeridoo and the meta string, which is a custom electroacoustic instrument I designed, and it's basically a monochord, one-stringed instrument, which mounts a piano string, and it has pickups, so the sound is transduced and amplified and then processed with live electronics. And I consider it actually a meta instrument because it's not just a string, it's the amounts of tools I use in order to make sound with it. So several objects and feedback chain reactions and live electronics and so on. So nowadays I have these two separate but also connected approaches. The acousmatic approach, so making sound and modifying sound, and the more performing sound art-like approach, which puts me also on the stage as a performer, especially with the didgeridoo and with the meta string.
Great, it's a very interesting mix and a lot of overtones everywhere.
Yeah, that's what
So that's,
I really like.
I can imagine. Well, it was a great interview, and we want to say thank you in name of Cyclical Dreams to join us, to join this amazing label that is going to grow day by day through very, very cool artists. And we hope you contribute a lot to this, because it's an honor for us to have you, and we are very happy to realize that this is a movement, especially here in South America, that is growing and growing. And well, I think it's a great time for that. So thank you so much, Massimo.
Thank you. Thank you for this opportunity. I'm very glad.
Well, have a great day and see you soon on the publishing page.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. See you soon and speak soon. Bye bye.
Bye bye. Many thanks.